from Nikki and from me, I have had a very eventful time of it, especially over the weekend. Not only did I have some wonderful house guests, but I also received a missive, let's put it that way, from one of the senior members of one of the European royal families, which will very quickly become relevant when I plunge in and read Wendy Evans's comment, because it's the ideal catalyst to lead into the subject. She says, with Harry's book coming out in a few months, I can't see the pair being contrite about anything. They survive by causing chaos and nastiness. They are lost, but they love the fact they are causing all this misery and will never change. Wendy Evans, your comment is very apposite, because it is the perfect lead-in to what I was told over the bank holiday weekend by one of the European senior royals who has impeccable connections in the United States of America. And I don't want to say too much, because I don't want to give the game away, so to speak. But let me put it this way. This information comes from somebody at a very senior level in the industry on the West Coast, who is a friend of this senior European royal, who went to the trouble of getting in touch with me to tell me that, and this is what I was told, and I'm being very careful to not give away the gender of this royal, so I will use the plural, they. I'm becoming rather too fashionable, I hate to observe, because I don't actually agree, being somebody who loves language, with they used as a singular. But in this case, I am going to retreat behind discretion and, dare I say, contemporary bad practice. Sorry, but it's true. Harry evidently intends, well, no, let me put it very diplomatically. It was recommended that I get the message across that it will maybe be in everybody's interest if Harry and Meghan are not present on the balcony, and they take no part whatsoever in any of the Platinum Jubilee celebrations, because the information that this royal has received is that Harry intends to trash his family, in particular Camilla, in what this royal thought was the most disgraceful manner. And this royal believes that the way forward, especially as how Harry and Meghan's whole empire of straw is collapsing under the strain of their falsity, shall we say, and their unpopularity and their fabrications that are intended to make people think that they are far more popular, influential, powerful and desirable than in reality they are. Harry will have to earn the money from Penguin by trashing the family. This is the belief. And several of the royals, and I'm not now going to say which royals and which nationality of royals, because remember, all of the European royals are interconnected, and when I include the British royals in that number, they are all cousins, some closer than others in terms of family relationships, but all connected and all know each other and are effectively in each other's pockets. And they are absolutely horrified that and recommend that Harry and Meghan should not be present for anything, that this will be leverage that the British royal family needs, and effectively they need to say to Harry, excuse me, until your book is published, we are not receiving you. We will only receive you after your book is published. Between now and then, we will not receive you. And if your book continues in the same vein, and if it includes recollections that are unrecognizable to anybody but you, Harry, and that wife of yours who wasn't even around at the time, but seems to have written the script and seems to know far better than anybody else what happened, even though she wasn't there. That the only way to possibly, because you see, as this royal pointed out to me, if Harry and Meghan partake in any way whatsoever in the Platinum Jubilee, they are going to turn it so it's all about them. The press is going to be focusing on them. If the Queen is ill-advised enough to have Harry, Meghan and the children on the balcony, it's going to be the Harry and Meghan dog and pony show. It's not going to be about the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. And I think that this suggestion of this royal is a very constructive one. And I would encourage people to support this rather good idea and recommend to the palace that you, the British people, do not wish to see Harry and Meghan on that balcony or anywhere else with any other royals until such time as the book is published and it is clearly seen that they have not yet again run rings around everybody and utilize their position to increase their renown, even as it is diminishing their popularity. I don't know what you think, but I think that this royal's idea is a very good one. And what I found intriguing is that it was brought to me for me to promulgate it. That's what I find interesting. Maybe the royal family needs the support of its supporters to keep Harry and Meghan to keep the two wolves out of the chicken coop. Let's put it that way. Suzanne Drury says, "Dear Lady C, sniffle, sniffle." I don't know what you mean, Suzanne Drury, about sniffle, sniffle. You are a naughty girl, Suzanne Drury. Sniffle, sniffle, and as you often say, oh dear, oh dear. Cannot wait to hear your thoughts regarding the fact that Netlfix has removed their pearls from swine. Very droll. It seems that the A-list wannabe isn't doing as well as she believed she would. Isn't it just true? Cancelled. She cancelled her father. She cancelled her paternal family. She cancelled her maternal family. She cancelled the royal family. And now she's cancelled too. Do we sense poetic justice somewhere along the line? I think we do. Oh dear, oh dear. We do need to enjoy these small moments of calm. Lizzie says, "Hello, Lady C. I hope you are well. Thank you very much. I am better than I was. I thought I was completely recovered. And yesterday I did something really stupid, which has cost me back somewhat. But I am getting there, and thanks for your concern. Have you heard that Netlfix has dropped Megaliah's Pearl project? Oops, them chicken foot be coming home to roost." Oh dear. As always, I look forward to hearing your views and take on it all. I have to say, our conversations are wonderful, aren't they? And of course, conversations are a two-way street. And that's why I have to include comments like this, and to appreciate and show everybody else how we should all be appreciating the people who look at this channel, because, really, I gather it is known as a channel with superior supporters in terms of intelligence, education, sophistication. And I have to say, some of the witty comments show it's absolutely true. And I love the "oops, them chicken foot be coming home to roost," which shows that you're actually not West Indian, you're American. And yes, the world is going to be deprived of the true story of Meghan's childhood and how Meghan was influenced by Maya Angelou, etc., etc., to become the superior person that she has become. The only problem being that she's now unmasked herself so completely that everybody knows that superior doesn't begin with I-N and then becomes Feria afterwards. Jane Evans says, Hi, Lady C. Well, did you hear that Meghan proposed Netflix series Pearl has been cancelled before it even got started? Mickey, come and console Marty. Marty's grief-stricken on behalf of Megsie Baby. Megsie Baby's not only missing out on all of that money, but all of that attention. And there she was going to treat the world and share all sorts of memories of her childhood and how she was inspired by all these wonderful women to become a superior human being and superior woman and a feminist of the highest order, much of which has been accomplished on the horizontal. True feminist. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. So, do you think that Netflix and Spotify are finally beginning to realize that the Harkles are all talk and no substance? If so, couldn't happen to a more despicable duo. Wonder how Megsie Baby will spin this one. Really look forward to your videos. Love to you, Mickey and the Whoppies. Well, Mickey's right here beside me, chilling. The Whoppies are asleep in the bedroom. They are going to go later on this week, but they are still together, and it's wonderful to see them together. And yes, Netflix and Spotify are ultimately businesses. They thought they had bought quality merchandise. Let me put it this way. They thought they had bought a dinner service of 22 carats. It turned out that they bought a dinner service that isn't even rolled gold. It is brass. They obviously realize it now. They realize that Harry and Meghan, not only are they all talk, but they're windbags, and that their talk cannot be vested in confidence or reality because it's all hot air. You know, had Meghan and Harry been really clever, what they would have done, they would have left Britain. She would have kept that big, impertinent, uppity trap of hers shut and wouldn't have said about, who does that 94-year-old woman think she is? She doesn't own the word royal. That was their first huge mistake. And it showed her hand in the most unacceptable way. The Oprah interview, that spectacle. We got married 3 days before, you know, by the Archbishop. Peep, peep, cluck, cluck. Yet another fabrication. And then trashing everybody. I mean, what if you have dignity and the dignity of being royal and the glamour of being royal to sell? You then don't call everybody into the lavatory to see you relieving yourself of the substance which occupies the whole of your being. It's odious to look at. It's odious to be a part of. And it's odoriferous as well. It stinks to high heaven. It is also deeply unglamorous. Glamour is about brightness, brilliance, success. You can have challenges and remain glamorous. You cannot be a victim and play the victim card and think that you are going to do anything except deflate the quality of your glamour and your desirability. It couldn't be simpler. But Meghan is a very immature individual, as is Harry. And she thought that because her seductive games had worked with him, they would work with the world. And they haven't. Because Meghan, the world isn't availing itself of the pleasures that you give Harry. It's as simple as that. Therefore, the world doesn't have candy floss at the end of the stick to suckle upon and to think, oh, lick, lick, how delicious. It's not a fun fair. It's real life. And the world understands that nastiness is nasty and that victimhood, especially when it is false, is undesirable as a glamour, as a tool of glamour. And yes, if you are a genuine victim, you might achieve admiration if you cope well and conquer the circumstances which made you a victim. But there's nothing glamorous about being a victim. There really isn't. And you have to be extremely immature and on some level very unrealistic and maybe pretty dumb, no matter how intelligent you think you are, and certainly very unsophisticated and unworldly to think that everybody's gonna pay you huge money and regard you as a superior being because you were a faux victim. I mean, faux is phony. But even if you'd been a real victim, there's nothing glamorous about it. And you weren't being paid for anything except glamour. Pity that you didn't understand that. But then again, your personality type wouldn't have understood it. Would your personality type have? Anne Wilcox says, "Hi, Lady C. I feel there is more behind Netflix cancelling Pearl than just Netflix needing to make cutbacks. Could they be frustrated with the couple? Has the shine come off of having Harry and Meghan on board? Has it worn off?" Yes, it did wear off. I tried to hint some time ago in one or two videos that things were derailing pretty badly because of their conduct. The chickens are coming home to roost. Now, Meghan is an expert on chickens, aside from the fact that she has a chicken coop and she rescues chickens because she's such a wonderful person. She's so noble. She rescues chickens. Well, with the chicken feet, I'm not surprised. The gild is off the lily. They are poisoned ponds. They are tainted products. Netflix and Spotify will now understand, not only because of the adverse reaction that Harry and Meghan's conduct has been generating, but also because Harry and Meghan's conduct is deeply uninteresting in terms of entertainment. It is very edifying in terms of a human interest story. But nobody wants to go and buy an advertisement about a plane or a train or a car crash. We all want to see what happens because we're human and we're interested in the fate that befalls other human beings. But I'm afraid merchandising requires desirability. People aren't buying that which is undesirable. And are Netflix and Spotify frustrated with the couple? I thought I indicated some time ago that not only were they frustrated with the couple, but they had seen that they were both people of straw who would never be producing anything watchable or worthy or desirable, and that they had parachuted in their people to make sure that they achieved a watchable and an interesting product. Well, they've cancelled Pearl. Poor Pearl. Meg's baby's a pearl. You notice everything is always around her. Pearl, Pearl. She managed to find a connection between herself and Pearl. Pearl, Pearl. Well, the gild is off the lily. The shine is off the two of them. This is the perceptible beginning of the end, which I have tried to indicate before was coming. If you've listened to what I've been saying over the last several months, I have been saying that things were not as good as they were presenting them as being, and people thought they were. Gail Platt says, "Hello, Lady C. So Netflix has binned Pearl with the announcement and quotes. In light of recent events, we have lost confidence in our ability to predict the company's future prospects with a sufficient degree of certainty. The phrase chickens come home to roost comes to mind." Gail Platt, so does listening very carefully to the meaning of the comment you shared. We have lost confidence in our ability to predict the prospects, the future prospects. They are not only speaking about the company, they're actually speaking about Harry and Meghan's products, or in this case, Meghan's product, the Pearl. They're basically saying, we thought we'd bought an ostrich, we've discovered we bought a turkey. Mary Leung says, Meghan Markle admitted that her father was wonderful. Then his emissary said her father interfered with Meghan Markle. After all her father did for her. What an ungrateful, selfish person. What did was so evil in her opinion, I hasten to add. Unbelievable. I can't believe H would believe this crap from his wife. I can believe anything. And I'll tell you better. When a man is addicted to a woman, or let me rephrase that, when one person is addicted to another, even if they know they're the scum of the earth, as long as they're getting what they require in terms of a fix, they will find a way of rationalizing away and reconciling the flaws that they see in that person. If Harry has even one grain of sense in his head, and even an imbecile must have at least 3 or 4, Harry has to know that what Meghan has said is completely untrue, unjustified, and unwarranted, except insofar as it plays out with her relationship with him. I would be deeply chilled to be married to any human being who could say that, or anything akin to that, or indeed anything that was a damaging lie about someone else, when I had to know it wasn't the truth. Because, as I've said repeatedly, Meghan sang her father's praises until she started going out with Harry. Since when, not only has the story changed, and not only does the story not make sense, because let's remember, her father gave her away at her first wedding and helped to pay for it. Yet, at the second wedding, Meghan managed to orchestrate things in such a way that her father ended up in the hospital with a heart attack. Oh dear. And Meghan is very strategic and very capable, as we have all seen in playing chess. We are witnessing King Lear and his ghastly daughter Gonorrhegan, the combination of gonorrhea and Regan. And if it sounds like a particularly nasty disease, there's a reason why, because it is a particularly nasty disease. Any thankless child is a particularly nasty disease. Arena Tun says, "Dear Lady C, could you please not use the term black race, which gives the impression that all big block capitals black people agree with the sentiments of the vocal few. Some of us do challenge the rhetoric and are more interested in social cohesion and learning from the past in order to create a better society than our ancestors experienced. Some of us have faced harassment, exclusion, and have been labeled not black or not black enough by both black and white races, although I may have spelt that wrong." No, you didn't spell it wrong. "For refusing to toe the line. There is something sinister happening. It hasn't raised its ugly head yet, but it does seem to be gaining in confidence. I couldn't agree with you more, but I'm not sure how I can describe. Maybe I will take on board what you've said, and I will be mindful of, when I'm speaking about the matter in future, to make it clear that I am speaking about only, shall we say, the unenlightened and the destructive element of the black and segment of the black population. Okay? I hear what you're saying. I understand what you're saying. I am very grateful to you for having written this in. And if I stand corrected, it's all to the good. Gleeful Me says, Lady C, what is your opinion re Harry's statement that he will not attend the coronation of King Charles, since Camilla will also be crowned Queen Consort? Well, I say quite frankly, it will be an absolute relief if he's not there in the lineup, because by birthright, he has a right to be there. Harry and Meghan need to create controversy. I am hoping, and I said this a few videos ago, I am hoping that they will begin to understand that their ploy has failed. They're either going to end up having a totally private life, and goodness knows where they're going to make the money from to sustain that private life, or they're going to bust up. And I mean, if you think Johnny Depp and Amber Heard's divorce, or my father-in-law and late stepmother-in-law's divorce is anything to go by, wait until that one becomes the hoolie that it will prove to be. Or they are going to have to tuck their tails firmly between their legs, find a way of apologizing, which might make it impossible for them, because without an apology and without displaying the attitude of having been chastened and being aware of the fact that they did wrong, because the other alternative is allied to being reincorporated in some reduced form into the British royal family. Now, I know there are people in the British royal family itself who would regard that as the most desirable and acceptable solution to the problem. The only problem is the asp is going to bite. It's not a Cavalier King Charles. It's gonna lick you with love. It's gonna bite you to death. And remember Aesop's fable, the scorpion and the frog? Well, they're scorpions. They're going to hitch a ride on the back of a frog, and they're going to bite the frog, because that's what scorpions do. I don't really see what the outcome is going to be. I know what some people would like it to be, but I also know that at this juncture, the British people don't want Harry and Meghan around at all, and they are justified in not wanting them around at all. Maybe if Harry and Meghan fess up and say, oh, we had huge emotional and drug problems and drink problems and personality problems, and we've turned over a new leaf, maybe they will be forgiven and given another chance. But to just worm their way back in, I don't think it's going to happen, with not the way they would like it to happen. And they're certainly not going to be able to have the adulation that they require. Dolores de Leon says, hello, Lady C. I loved you being interviewed by Dan Wootton, one of my favourites, on GB News recently. You did a wonderful job answering his questions. Thank you very much. I agree with your comments about the despicable duo not being allowed on the balcony and Thomas Markle Sr. deserving respectful treatment. I have utmost respect for you and for Dan, yet he and you are in opposing camps over Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and torn as to who to support, as I respect you both. What can you say to clarify matters for me? Well, first of all, Dolores DeLeon, I would say, thanks for your nice comments about me. I like Dan. I respect Dan. So I'm delighted that you do as well. But yes, we are on opposite sides of that fence. Let me make this point. Dan Wootton's not a woman. Men are far more easily deceived by the machinations and the antics and the manipulations of a woman, even men who aren't straight, than another woman. We can see through them far more readily. Men often like to be champions of women. They want to be protective of women because they want to be protective of their mothers. And how a man feels about his mother is how he's going to feel about not only his wife, but women generally. Sorry. Men who like women are going to want to be protective of them. Amber Heard, in my opinion, is a total abuser. That's my opinion. The evidence backs up what I'm saying. And I, being a woman, see her for what she is far more readily than Dan Wootton or Mr. Justice Nicol will have seen her for what she is. Their masculinity, I think, has interfered with their judgment. Or, if it's not their masculinity, maybe I'm wrong or they're just not as bright as I am. Let's put it that way. It's one of those options. There are not that many options. But I think that we need to remember that she has a record of, what's it called again? MA, or I need to use the code. I think it's called MA, where she has been in DA, I think it might be, in a domestic situation where she has been anything but, shall we say, respectful of the rights and privileges of the other person. If I recall, she has a record because she was found guilty of doing that with her girlfriend before she met Johnny Depp. So, you know, she's guilty as sin. It's obvious she's guilty as sin. But she's made sure she span it in such a way that many men, I'm sure, would have thought, oh, poor Amber, she's beautiful and she's this and she's that. And it doesn't help that Johnny Depp is a confessed alcoholic and drug addict. But just because you're an alcoholic and drug addict doesn't mean you are prone to violence, and certainly not prone to personal violence. And just because you have a temper, and evidently in that tape that she did of him in the kitchen where he's battering the cabinets. He was giving vent to his sentiments about his mother, who used to torment him. He wasn't hitting anybody. And if he wanted to hit something, if he was enraged enough to want to and need to hit something, what's wrong with that? You know, my right to hit you ends where your nose begins. Nobody said that my right to hit the cabinet ends where the shelf begins. If you want to smash up your own property or damage it, I would have said that's maybe not the most constructive way of expressing rage, but it's a heck of a lot better than personalizing it. And there are so far very many instances of her provoking him and abusing him. He seems to be, by and large, either he tried to avoid the situations, or he expressed his anger at things, or maybe expressed it verbally, and figures of speech. You know, we live in a world where everybody's becoming so literal that you're not even allowed to use a figure of speech now, which is patently ridiculous. So I hope that answers the question. I think Dan was duped by her because Dan's a decent guy and he likes women and he's a decent guy. And she brought out his protective instincts, as indeed she's brought out Mr. Justice Nicholls' protective instincts. And indeed, she's brought out protective instincts of many people. But I suspect they all have the nose that Meghan leads Harry by. They have the nose that we women lack, if I get my point across. And on that note, I will say thank you very much for listening. I hope this has been of some interest to you. If it has, please like, share, subscribe, press the notification bell, and remember, please keep the questions coming in. We are basically having a conversation. And so I need your input to respond to your thoughts. Thank you so much. God bless and goodbye.